All right, we are recording.
Okay, so for our presentation, we're doing the book This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson. It'll go to the next slide. There we go. Just a little summary about the book. In This Book is Gay, the author talks about a bunch of different topics surrounding the LGBTQ plus community. And this book is basically an instruction manual for people to read if they want to learn more about themselves or like their friends or family. A few of the topics that are mentioned in the book are how to find people in the community, coming out stories, stereotypes, just a bunch of different people's like stories in general, some scientific facts, some details about sex, and the description of different sexual identities and gender identities. So our topic is dating. The topic that we choose to discuss is dating in the LGBTQ plus community. And as I'm sure some of you know, it's really difficult to date as a person in the queer or LGBTQ plus community. Today we're going to talk about like some of the solutions or advice that like we came up with and like we researched when it comes to dating and just expanding your horizons and like meeting more friends also like in the LGBTQ plus community. So a lot of what we're talking about is specifically from chapter 8 of the book that we read, and also some outside sources for the rest of the presentation. So how has the issue affected me or like my friends and family? For me, dating and being a part of the LGBTQ plus community hasn't been easy. As a person that lives in Farmville and is from here, there's basically nobody in the area. So yeah.
And for me, like I've never experienced issues with dating in the LGBTQ plus community. They've never affected my family, but as I've done this project, I've been able to educate myself
Oh no,
with those kind of issues.
Sorry, you froze for a little
you
bit.
froze, Roman.
Yeah. Y'all are frozen on mine.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go ahead to the next. That's okay.
Yeah, that's okay.
So the first solution we came up with is just simply to get on the dating apps. Dating apps can be very emotionally exhausting, but they can also be very rewarding when you're trying to look for people in your area. And it's also important to do your research on what dating app is like for what, or like what it is typically used for. So like Grindr is like usually used for hookups when like Bumble is used for someone that wants a relationship. There's also Bumble BFF if you're just looking to expand like your friend circle. And it's also important to note like which dating apps have the most users if you live in a small area like Farmville. So like Tinder and Hinge have the most users, so you're gonna have more you're going to be more likely to have success with those. And then yeah, at the bottom I just put a side note: if you're looking to expand your friend circle, dating apps can also be effective. Just make sure you clarify that.
It keeps freezing.
The second solution, which is join larger groups and communities outings that have a larger. So joining the local groups or community outings with a large LGBTQ plus attendance can be something very difficult, as whether you just coming out into LGBTQ or you've been in the community for a while, it's something that can be scary because the thought goes through everyone else's minds like, will these people like me? So that kind of thing scares a lot of people, and it's just something you have to find the urge to get through. And then so I found this site called LGBTQ with Matt, which is a movement advancement project, and it gives a website about all the communities and local groups that kind of advocate for the LGBTQ plus community, just so people can kind of get like what they'd want to do. And then for my example, which is called the Audrey Lorde Project, is an organization that works for the community wellness, and also is very supportive for social and economic justice for the LGBTQ community. And I think this is just great because it gives organizations that, and people can find what's right for them, and the people they might meet in those organizations can help them. And then also, I know it's also hard to find connections through these organizations because not everyone meets the needs that you want, or the people that are in those organizations you may not associate with. So, for example, as it says on 72 in the book, that, or 173, gay bars, even though they can be like overwhelming, they are a safe place where you can talk to someone and kind of learn more about them and connect with them. So the second solution, I'll go with the third.
Oh, sorry.
Is my slide isn't. No, you're all good. My bad. Okay, so
Good
now
job.
for solution number 3, which is opening yourself up to different kinds of people. This is like an LGBT community. It's important to embrace all kinds of people. And one of the other keys was like when you open yourself up, look for people that may not have the same identities as you, so that you're able to meet unique people, meet people that are maybe different from you, and you can learn from them or connect with them. And then example of this would be to explore connections with people who have different sexual orientations or gender that you do. 172 of the book, it refers to how each year cities around the world LGBTQ plus community, and this is a great way to meet new people and establish those connections, and maybe you'll meet people with different identities than you. So I think it's a great way for everyone to come together and kind of establish these connections. And then another point of reasoning towards this solution is also to challenge stereotypes and be okay with your identity. Because I remember several on page 55 where it said like some of them include like all gay women have short hair or get stereotype to come out to people. And I think if you do that, it'll help you in the long run a lot. And an example of this would be when you see people who are the LGBTQ plus community, engage with them and ask about their personal experiences. Then the slide. I get the slide. Okay, so in conclusion, after we talked about the dating form relationship, whether friendly or romantic, it's difficult for the members of LGBT plus community to like know what they want. So get yourself out there on dating apps, like Lauren said, on like Hinge, all those like is really important, because then you're able to like match all the people that you find interesting or unique to your own identity. And then also don't block yourself off for people that appear different from you, as I said in the previous slide. Now, Lauren.
So I think what's best for me going forward after doing all this research is to continue dating as a person in the LGBTQ plus community, and to continue making friends is using the dating apps. I found it to be like the most successful. Also, honestly, go work at a restaurant near here, because for some reason a lot of restaurants have a lot of people in the community. And just yeah, we also have an occasional drag show at Press Club. I think it's like every other Sunday brunch, which is really fun, and it's a really cool way to meet other people.
And then for me, I believe what is best for me is I continue being straight, but I also want to continue educating myself about the LGBTQ plus community, like be normal in the queer and LGBT community, and not that something that's unnormal or stuff like that. And I also believe that there needs to be more ways LGBTQ plus community be included into our society, because I don't think there's enough ways for them to be accepted. Next slide.
And then you just have like a reference.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Good deal. Good deal. So yeah, similar to what the first class or what the first group that did this as well. So you're the second group that's doing this with me. It's always a learning thing for me as an instructor of like, okay, this was an experiment to try online. Let's see what happens. Um, that you kind of do miss that I'm noticing that you kind of do miss that instructional, like, oh, that's what we were supposed to do kind of thing. You didn't do anything wrong. I want to put it
Oh
that way.
no.
Yeah, no, you didn't do anything wrong. But I do want to give you the opportunity to get the things that you did miss a little bit. So with the
Mhm.
deliberative forum, the definition of deliberation is very much conversation. And so instead of it being like a formal, here's what this is solution is, here's some ideas and things like that, you did a great job about that. The only thing you missed is getting into conversation about it per solution. And so um, what we can do now to kind of offset that is to, if you wanted to add anything, like, so for example, Roman, you went on these particular slides, Lauren, you did these particular slides and solutions. Is there something that you would add in conversation um, to the ones that you weren't the lead of? Let's put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. If I can find a way to go back. Oh, there we go. Roman, do you wanna go first, like with my solution? Did you have anything to add there?
I personally didn't have anything to add, but I'm sure if I went back in, I would have added something else.
It's not so much adding, it's just like, what would you say about it? Right. Because that's the conversation piece of it. So you didn't have to prepare like everything. You just had to prepare like something to say. So are there things like that you would say about like getting on the dating apps as a solution? Do you think that it's a good or bad thing? Because you see both, right? In the book, they're talking about both. You hear the different stories. Um, is there something that you would add, experiences that you've had on dating apps as it doesn't have to all be like queerness, right? It's just examples from like your own experiences or people that you know.
Uh, well, I'll go. I think with dating apps, like it's a very mixed bag because I've seen on dating apps where there's some like you don't even know if the people are real, and like there's a lot like I've known there's a lot of like bots on like especially like Tinder, like it's and they don't do a good job of like I think eliminate some of the bots. So like you'll be like matching someone, you'll think like it's a person you want to continue talking to, and it's just a bot behind there. And I think like that's just something that's very hard to trust, especially like people in the LGBTQ plus community. Like I bet that's very hard to trust that there could be bots behind these apps. So like I think that's definitely something with dating apps. Like they're a very great thing to have a connection with people, but also like it would be very dangerous as well, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I know the book talked about it a little bit, and like something that I do if I'm ever gonna like go meet somebody that I met from a dating app, like I'll always have the pre-date FaceTime where I can like actually see the person and talk to them before actually going to meet them. Just as a safety thing, I think is something that a lot of people should do just to, yeah, ensure their safety. Um, for this one, it's hard to join local groups when there isn't any local groups, at least that I know of.
I'm going to tell
Um,
you a couple of them here in a minute.
I would love that
Yeah.
because like I've I've written in some of the packbacks that like I listen to a lot of like podcasts that have a lot of different people in the LGBTQ community like on the podcast, and like I'll watch YouTube videos or read articles or whatever, but I have maybe two friends that are in the LGBTQ community, and that's not because I don't expand myself. I do. I don't know. I feel like there is none.
There's
um
more than you think.
at least
Yeah.
maybe they don't think that I am, so they're like not talking to me.
Yeah. And
So
this is a lot of what Juno's talking about, right? Especially for people in the queer community. You don't know sometimes unless you stereotype your look. I get
Exactly.
clocked quickly with my neckties and my short hair, but um, more feminine, like expressing women do have trouble sometimes making those connections because of those reasons.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. And more like I think masculine men on the other side
yep,
of it as well.
yep,
Um,
mhm,
And
absolutely.
I think sorry, go ahead. But I was saying like in it, like you also said in the book, like how it's so hard for some people to come out or like come up to their families. Like you don't know, like maybe these people do support those local groups, but there's not enough people because not enough people are coming out. But like that's just like a thought I had. Like
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily true, but like especially like how our world is right now, like it's not it can be a little scary sometimes trying to come out. So I think that's why you see so few like um community outings or like local groups. It's not enough people have like it's hard to have that courage to have a local group, I feel like, in today's society.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this, Farmville has a local group called Farmville Pride. They meet once a month at, I believe it's the third Saturdays of the month from 2 to 4 at Three Roads Brewing. So there's always that.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Longwood, the college also has a Pride group um, that they're working on advertising and stuff and getting people to notice. But then you have to think about when you think about groups and things like that, it's like who goes to them, who knows that it exists, who's attending, is it even, am I going to feel comfortable? I'm a really awkward person when I go places, and so if I'm going to go by myself to a group that has already existed, right, and have already built their own bonds and things, I'm coming into that. It's just like going to a bar to me.
Yeah, I would never like show up to a bar alone.
Yeah,
Like you'd want someone with you.
it's
Another
yeah.
kind of like, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt
Oh, you're
you.
good.
Another kind of like negative thing about going to like community outings, like at least here, where typically there's a lot more conservative people and people that don't believe that our rights should be equal. Like I know a ton of people that are like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to press club again because we did a drag
This
show
is our job.
a month ago. Um,
Well, they
so
can kiss my
it's
ass.
just
Sorry.
hard. What'd you say?
So they can kiss my ass.
Well,
I'm gonna go celebrate the drag show.
I
Get
mean,
on Nash.
I was like going on dates with somebody, because like I'm bi, so I was going on dates with this guy, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm never going to press again." And I was like, "Okay, we're not working out then because
Yeah.
that's so dumb."
Yeah.
And I
Learn.
also feel there's a lot of people that like, especially like what you're talking about, that are like uneducated, just like I was like before reading this book on like on the stereotypes that they tend to believe them, and that kind of hurts like having local groups and community outings. Like I think the fact that a lot of people believe these stereotypes hurts having an LGBTQ attendance with these groups and outings, at least in my opinion.
It's been successful though, his the drag shows, right? They've been pretty successful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're really fun. Like
Yeah.
it's nothing provocative, which is what people love to
Yeah.
think it is, but
Yeah.
it's not provocative. It's literally like karaoke night with great makeup and hair. Like that's
Right.
basically what it is.
It's performativity, like we've been learning in the class, right? It's very much gender as a performance.
Yeah.
That's very much Judith Butler, gender performativity, but it's like it's what it is.
Yeah. And then like for our last solution, I don't really think we need to, at least for me, I don't really think I need to say any more about it. Just basically be open, talk to different people. Like, even though I would have no interest in dating a man that is gay, that doesn't mean that if I am looking for more friendships, like he couldn't be a great friend, or if I'm looking for a relationship, he couldn't be friends with, like, would fit my what I want basically. So just don't be closed off.
Yeah. And I kind of relate to like when you first get to like college, where you have to like meet people and you have to like put like you have to make an effort to like meet people that may not believe in the same thing as you have, or like have the same identity. So I think it's a lot in that way. Like you have to extend the extra step forward and
Mhm.
try and meet people, because you never know, that could be your next best friend or stuff like that. So
Never know. I just
yeah.
witnessed that. I just witnessed that last semester, like the last summer semester. I taught a class in San Francisco on the queer community, like place and voice and all that stuff. And so there were a group of students that were there that had never talked to each other before. Some of them had even said, we learned some untoward things towards the queer community, but then they became best friends. It's because they opened themselves up enough to like look past the stuff that had happened in the past, right? And had conversations and learned that they were cool with each other. Something to be said about opening yourself up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to stop recording. Good job, y'all.